Alright. So, welcome back to Destiny, the beta, the game. So over here is the Crucible. I believe it's actually 6 maps, and each one obviously requires, as you can see at the bottom, PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, I guess, if you're playing on a 360 or Xbox One. Lame! So that right there is a large portion of the staying power of the content just locked away from me because I don't have the money to play. So we start with the level 2 story. You can't replay the opening level, unfortunately. I mean, you can go back and explore those areas that you went through, but you can't play the opening level again, but you can play all the other ones again. So, the level 2 story. Return to fallen territory and hunt for parts to restore your ship's ability for interplanetary travel. That would be so helpful if we actually left the planet at all during this beta. So, each level comes with 2 different difficulties, normal and hard. So, I'm going to be playing on normal because I feel like the best way to do it is to play through the first base difficulty the first time, and then come back later once you're at the recommended level and play it again on the harder difficulty, which by that point will say normal instead of hard. And basically that's just going to mean that you're going to pretty much level up every time you go through the level, as long as you're at the appropriate level. So if you'll level up when you play it the first time, you'll probably level up when you play it the second time. You reach the max level very quickly. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get this started. And hopefully these loading screens won't be too brutal.
There's so little left out here. We were lucky to even find this ship. A Guardian can't do much to protect the city with that one. But it needs a warp drive if we ever hope to fight beyond Earth. And that Cosmodrome is the only place I know where we might still find one. We survived the Fallen once. We can do it again.
So yeah, each mission has that little talk at the beginning. It's kind of a mission briefing.
The
And
Guardian ship
yeah.
was recently shot down here. If the Fallen haven't gotten to it, there might be parts we can salvage.
Okay. So I just want to say that it's still pretty, but I noticed immediately that every level after the first level isn't quite as good looking as the first level, which I don't know why exactly that is, but it happened that way. So, yeah. Alright, so first off, we're going over here. He's going to examine the ship. And first we have to fight, though. I forgot how different the weapons sounded. Also, another player is here. So that's one thing that happens, is that you're kind of actively... Come on, guys. You're level 8, I'm level 2. You don't need to steal my character's experience. Anyway, what you get for experience by killing enemies is pretty small compared to what you get from completing objectives. Yeah, I can't really understand them either.
They managed to restore an information hub here. Down in the tunnels below. We should check it out.
Alright, so I noticed a lack of animation to have him just disappear back into you. Just kind of randomly disappeared. I don't know. Seems like a game with so much detail in it, kind of lacking a lot without that detail. Well, that was cool. Yeah. So your next area to go to is downstairs. Onward we go. The missions, I have to say, are not the longest in the world. Like, if you're expecting anywhere near like a Halo length, full length mission from each one of these missions, you're gonna be disappointed. Yeah, I mean, you can do a bit of exploration within the mission, and that's how you would find the ammo crates or the loot crates and such. That would just give you pretty much extra money, maybe an extra weapon. I'm not going to be doing too much exploration for ammo crates because, I mean, like I said, it's not a whole lot of point to it. So, let's go ahead and go over here. Deploy the ghost. Okay, so I want to first off point out that if you look at the gun, there's a bit of blur on the parts of the gun closer to you, and the parts further away are a bit more in focus. I think that that's actually a pretty neat touch. So, you know, I do have a lot of praise for the graphics, even if, again, they aren't the most technically impressive things in the world. I do think that they look pretty good. Very Half-Life 2-esque in some ways, actually. Yeah. That's the graphics are pretty. That's all I have to say. And I didn't mean to throw a grenade so close range, but it happened. Anyway. So, one thing I will point out is that there are other weapon classes, other types of weapons you can get, obviously. But beyond just, like, literally different kinds of weapons, there's also uncommon and rare weapons and such. And uncommon weapons can actually level up. The more you use them, the more weapon experience you get, and they actually will let you upgrade the weapon's damage and maybe tweak the way the stats of the weapon a little bit. It's pretty cool, honestly. Anyway. Yeah. But I don't know. The weapon variety, you're pretty much limited to what you can buy and what you occasionally get from the enemies, and the weapon drop rate is pretty low. I don't know if they're going to tweak this for the final release, or if this section of the game that you play through in the beta is just meant to not have them drop weapons very often. But you can't really rely on getting better weapons from enemies. You're more likely, as you play through, to stick with the weapons you get from the beginning, or the very rare weapon drops that you occasionally get from enemies. So.
Scanning for the warp drive. Bad news. It's already in fallen hands.
So another thing I'll mention about this is that the music is pretty good. Co-written by Marty O'Donnell and Paul McCartney. Marty O'Donnell, as I'm sure you probably know, was fired from Bungie, I believe, was it back in April or something? And he's actually filed a lawsuit to get severance pay owed to him. And
I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah, but the music was finished by then, so all of his contributions are going to be there. Which is odd to think that Marty finished the score for the game well before its release, but he did. Apparently, he was bad about procrastinating with Halo, but anyway, that's a whole can of worms I won't get into. So, if you die out there, your ghost pretty much respawns you very close to where you died. If you die here, you go back to the last checkpoint, which in this case is basically the beginning here. But this is the area where you will be finishing the level anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I say that. There we go. that killed a good number of the enemies. I mean, I would go into strategies and such, but it's really just cover shooter mechanics. Once the enemies do a good bit of damage to you, get behind cover, and you should be good. Alright. So, your first boss, I guess, not counting the one from the earlier level, is this guy, who you should stay away from, because his weapon is very inaccurate, or he's very inaccurate at range, but his weapon does do a lot of damage. Oh, and by the way, if you die, you have to do this whole sequence all over again. So, that's fun. But this is nowhere near the longest you can't respawn sequence in the game, so... Also, his health is pretty high, and the enemies respawn. And that's why you don't get close to him, because he can pretty easily wreck you. And I'm gonna try to... How many shots do I have? Okay. Yeah, it's actually a lot harder to survive than I remember. I may have stuck around and killed more enemies and possibly even gotten another level up before this point before. Oh, crap. Yeah, this isn't doing a whole lot of damage to him. Yeah, I'm gonna back away now and hope I don't get killed. Yeah, there we go. As I've said before, the AI is not the most amazing, but it's adequate. I mean, this is the same company that gave us the AI for the elites, who were kind of a pain on higher difficulties especially, so... Although part of that is because of the amount of damage they could soak up, so... Not sure how much of that it's really fair to say was due to good AI design. They're okay though. This guy actually reminds me a good bit of the boomers in Gears of War. You know, that deep booming voice and just kind of slowly walking around. And did I reach the limit on how much the guys respawn? Okay. There we go. So, that's it, level 3.
You just killed an Archon. This could cripple the Fallen. And we got a warp drive. I have to get you to the speaker.
Alright. So, yeah, 13 minutes in, and we've already finished the mission. The first mission is very short, and yeah, they don't get a whole lot longer. And you can explore all this and more. Like I said, you can explore everything that you visit in the missions in the exploration mission. Wow. Alright. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. So, jump and then press X again while in the air to activate glide. So the hunter gets a double jump. Apparently the warlock gets a glide. That's interesting. Let's see. I unlocked new gauntlets. That one's better. And I will just go ahead and dismantle the other two. And then boots. Leg armor engram. Those are the things that you have to get decrypted by the cryptarch in the tower. So I guess I'll go ahead and show that one at least. And yeah. So we're going to go ahead and head back to the tower before calling this video done. I mean, it only makes sense considering that I'm going to try to keep these around 20-ish minutes. Maybe longer, maybe shorter. We'll see. I'm going to try to do one mission per video at least, and yeah.
There was a time when we were much more powerful. But that was long ago. Until it wakes and finds its voice, I am the one who speaks for the traveler. You must have no end of questions, Guardian. In its dying breath, the traveler created the ghosts to seek out those who can wield its light as a weapon. Guardians to protect us and do what the traveler itself no longer can.
What happened to it?
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy. There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately, those tales have stopped. Now, the children are frightened anyway. The darkness is coming back. We will not survive it this time.
Its armies surround us. The Fallen are just the beginning.
What can I do?
You must push back the darkness. Guardians are fighting on Earth and beyond. Join them. Your ghost will guide you. I only hope he chose wisely.
I did. I'm sure of it. We're in this together now.
There's a very Master Chief Cortana thing they're trying to basically go on with you and your ghost. I mean, the dynamic between them is just way too similar, which is not that bad. I do like I do like that sort of dynamic, and I think the ghost is honestly probably the best character in this beta. As far as story, that's pretty much the most you're going to get out of it, other than like the briefing for the missions. And that's something I'm actually pretty disappointed with, is that the story has a good setup, but it doesn't seem to be delivering very well on that setup. It's not screaming space epic to me so much as maybe not quite generic sci-fi, but it's certainly not very engaging or thrilling. I'm not dying to know what happens next by the time this beta is over at all. So that's something that I will reserve complete judgment for when the full game comes out, and for all my criticisms, I definitely didn't cancel my pre-order or anything. But it does worry me a little bit that the story isn't more engaging than it is. So we're gonna go to the tower for now, and we're gonna probably pick up a few bounties, get some stuff, turn it in. It's quite the load. Load times are pretty bad, I have to say. I expected more from the PS4. I expected more from Bungie. It's going to be a running theme with this playthroughs. You're going to notice that I'm very willing to express my disappointment in some areas, but also willing to give praise. And I just think that if you're going to spend a huge amount of money on this game, even if the development budget isn't that ridiculous $500 million figure, it's pretty obvious that this is an expensive game. And Activision is putting a lot on it. If they're going to do that, I just expect more, that's all. So if we go to the Cryptarch, you can exchange. I apparently got that. I don't know why. Anyway, oh yeah, for that artifact that I picked up. Anyway, you decode the enneagram and you get an item, and it also goes to build up your engram or crypto archaeology reputation, and you earn rewards apparently for achieving higher ranks. I don't know exactly. You can pay money to get stuff. I'm actually thinking about getting a heavy weapon. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the heavy weapon enneagram. Yeah, there we go.
Always a pleasure.
So I'm gonna go ahead and first off, level 4 uncommon armor. Looks like it's gonna be pretty good whenever. That's pretty funny. There is a little bit of that Bungie wit going on there, and I do appreciate that. So, special weapon. Level 4, of course it requires level 4. A rocket launcher with 28 attack seems kind of wrong. I'm pretty sure the rocket launchers are stronger than that figure would have you think, but anyway. Yeah, I believe that about covers what I wanted to do here. I guess I can go and look at the bounty board. No, I still wouldn't be high enough level for those. Okay, so that covers this episode of the Destiny Beta. I'll see you guys for the next part where we'll be tackling the third mission.